Recording. All right, everyone, welcome. Happy Tuesday. This is Dr. Stacy Holweger, and I am so excited to have with me Dr. Don VerHulst. I'm going to share a little bit of information about him here in just a second for this special Tuesday night Zoom. We are both traveling. He's up in Michigan off traveling. I'm up in northern or center, somewhere part in Florida traveling as well too. We're both out there just talking to people and educating people and having a great time. So we are excited to share with you all tonight information about Lifewave, stem cell activation technology, as well as the other patches with Lifewave. But before we get started, I do want to share our disclaimer. Dr. Don and I are not your doctors. And so the information we're sharing tonight is going to be for informational purposes only. If you have any questions regarding your health, your medications, your issues that are going on, of course, as always, please check with your healthcare practitioners. The information here is for your knowledge, and we're going to give you lots of great resources, of course, for you to make your own educated decisions. But we won't be talking specifically about any diseases or syndromes, any kind of conditions. We will be referencing information in regards to our clinical studies, which discuss systems and organs and the functionality of the body. So with that being said, Dr. Don, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to read your bio because this is impressive and everyone definitely needs to know who you are. You and I have been friends, oh my gosh, for what, like 12, 15 years now? So we've known each other, worked together and in different ways, and so grateful to be together now, actually working so closely together. I'm just so blessed to have you here. So Dr. Don is a teacher. He is an ordained minister and a speaker. He hosts a television program, Hope for Your Health. He embraces the naturopathic philosophy of health and has dedicated his life to teaching the principles of preventative medicine. He received his BS in zoology from the University of Michigan and his MD from Wayne State University School of Medicine. Dr. Don and his wife, Susan, have 4 beautiful children, all of which are now out of the home. And Dr. Don, you have been a medical doctor for over 40 years. So tell us a little bit about yourself if you want to go into more detail, and then tell us why you are so passionate about Lifewave's X39 stem cell activation patch. And of course, everyone wants to know how it works.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Stacy, and welcome everyone. I am truly honored to be here with you tonight, each and every one of you. And I guess the thing most exciting to me about this pathway that we're all on together, all of us, is that I'm in my destiny. I know I am, and I know, Dr. Stacy, you're in yours, and we've been around the block a couple of times. This isn't our first rodeo. We bumped into one side and then the other, but I feel like everything, and I think you feel the same, everything we've done up until this point has led us to be here. We're learning. We've got a lot more to learn, but we are qualified right now to do what we're doing, which is share these natural alternatives with you. I believe, as you read in my bio, I believe that natural alternatives are what you should live your life by. I do not disagree with pharmaceuticals. I was trained to use pharmaceuticals. However, I have never, ever prescribed one pharmaceutical, not because I don't believe they work. They do work. Sometimes they work so well. The side effects are worse than what you're taking them for. And we can almost do everything nutraceutically, natural, with natural modalities, whether it be stress reduction or dealing with getting enough sleep and nutrition, getting enough nutrition, and all those modalities that we need to do. We can almost do everything nutraceutically and with natural, holistic modalities that we can do pharmaceutically. I said almost, because if you have a heart attack or break your leg, please don't come to Dr. Stacy or I for natural alternatives. Get to the emergency room. If you need the intensive care unit, wow, aren't you glad they're there? It's life-saving and life-changing. However, that's not our area of specialty. My area is in teaching people how to get to stay healthy, how to add years to your life and life to your years. And before we talk about this phenomenal X39 stem cell activating patch that has truly been the most powerful, productive, efficient product I have ever worked with, and I have worked with a lot of products over 4 decades. Before that, I just want to briefly tell you, if I may take 1 minute, maybe 90 seconds to digress. When I speak, as I do quite often, to groups, whether it might be 10 people or 20,000 at one time. I think you and I were in front of 25,000 at once. And I base my talk on very simple things based on my book, 10 Keys That Cure, or Do This and Live Healthy. And they've become known finally as Dr. Don's 10 things, but they're not really. They're from the owner's manual, because did you know there's an owner's manual for your body? There is. And the owner's manual contains the mind of the maker. And so I don't have an original thought. These are not from me, but your body is fearfully and wonderfully made. And here's what 21 years of formal education has led me to. And I have a song to sing to you, and it's very simple. And I'll just briefly sing it and not go into detail, but this is what I base my talk on usually. And it just goes like this. These are not the only 10 things that are important to your health, but they're foundational. And I recommend every one of you focus on each one of those. And it's very simple. It goes like this. Learn to relax, get to bed on time, and do your exercise. Breathe fresh air when the sun's out there, and eat like this little rhyme. Fruits and vegetables, whole grains, white if you choose meat. Drink what you're mostly made of. Water makes your health complete. So those are Dr. Don's 10 Keys That Cure. And that last one, I just want to quickly focus on. Dehydration is the enemy of your health. And in order for these patches that we're going to talk about here tonight, this most phenomenal stem cell activation patch, you must be hydrated. Now, it'll work if you're a little dehydrated or a lot dehydrated, but it works much better and much quicker when you stay, and I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when you stay hydrated. How much water should I drink? I'm glad you asked. Take your body weight in pounds. I weigh 154 pounds right now. What would that be? 75 or 77 ounces of water? It's about 128 in a gallon. So I got 3/4 of a gallon or so. I probably drink a gallon of water, but no substitutions. Maybe 4 glasses of green tea, I'll give you a substitution there, but you got to get those liquids in, because liquids are what detoxify your body and help balance your immune system, which are the two things that I call the health equation. That's what I've been doing for 40 years, teaching people how to get and stay healthy naturally, how to live longer and stronger, add years to your life and life to your years. Now, in that process, I've encountered many phenomenal products, many phenomenal teachers and instructors and holistic practitioners. I've received formal training in kinesiology with Dr. Jim Marcoux, who was the nephew of George Goodhart. If you're a kinesiologist, you know that name. He was the father of kinesiology. I've been formally trained in osteopathic medicine, don't have a degree in that, but craniosacral technique. Some of you know what that is. But my degree is in allopathic medicine, which I basically don't use much of other than to help people get off of, when it's appropriate, pharmaceuticals and use natural alternatives. And like Stacey said, I'm not your doctor, and we don't talk about diseases here. We talk about supporting the body's system. So that's the foundation in which I found myself being presented with this patch. And I'll just tell you my story, because it's my story and I'm sticking to it, and it's the truth. When I first heard about the patches, a good friend of mine that I've known for many, many years sent me 5 patches in the mail. I didn't talk to him, didn't hear anything about it, but I got these 5 patches. And Susan said, my wife, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I read it. And I said, well, I guess I'll stick them on, and stick them on C7. It was an X39, 5 patches. And I stuck them on for 5 days. And she said, well, what do you think about those patches? And I said, I don't know. I didn't feel anything. I didn't know. So that was several months before. And then certain things happened. Several months later, another friend of mine who approached me and said, you really need to take a look at this thing. And here's what happened. Susan heard, probably Dr. Stacey, from you, that by the time you're 35 years old, you've lost 50%, up to 50% of your stem cell activity. And by the time you're 60, you've lost up to 90%. Well, I'm 66. I'll be 67 on August 16th. So I'm over that 90 mark if I was the average person. I assure you I'm not. My biological age is not 60. I don't know what it is. I should measure it. But I'm an average exerciser and do stress management techniques. And I believe in prayer, meditation, and casting your care and getting to bed on time. Don't always do it right, and I feed my body right and all those things. So, so I heard about stem cells, and this is if you're wondering, well, how would I share this with someone? Well, use the product, be a product of the product, but don't wait until you know anything about the product to share it. Just know this: stem cells are cells, they have a phenomena called pluripotency. That means a stem cell can become whatever cell your body needs. If your body needs a cell for the retina and the eye, it'll become that. If you need something in the cardiovascular system, in the heart, it'll become a heart cell. If you need to breathe better, it'll become a lung cell, to keep it simple, or a muscle cell, or a bone cell, or a immune system cell, or whatever. Stem cells have the unique ability to become whatever cell you need. Well, think about it. When a sperm meets an egg and a conceptus is formed and a new life is born, at that point, I believe right at that point is when it happens. And then those cells divide 2, 4, 6, 8, the more you lost, 16, 32. They're all stem cells because they're all destined to become different kinds of cells. And some become muscles, and some become heart and eyes. And you have you're all stem cells. But then as you age, even in the womb, well, certainly after you're born, stem cell activity can start to slow down. So that by the time you're, as I said, and I don't hear pre-senile dementia or Alzheimer's, but I'm repeating myself with purpose because that's how I learn. It's a teaching technique. You lose 50% of your stem cell activity if you're the average person by the time you are what age? 35, and you lose 90%, up to 90% by the time you're 65. That's all my wife had to hear. Susan heard that and she said, I don't care how much these patches cost. I'm getting on these patches. And I said, Susan, I can't just endorse something like this. And what is this thing? It's it comes in a sleeve like this, and there's 30 of them, and they're little round, look like a Band-Aid. It's not much different than a Band-Aid. You peel off the back and you put it on. It'll work anywhere on your body, but I wear my X39 stem cell activation patch. I wear it on C7. You reach down the back of your neck and down where your neck is, and you feel a bump at the base of your skull, right where your neck starts. That's C7. And it's not important to get it exactly right. You can be an inch high, an inch low, left, right. Just get it on there. Put it on 12 hours. Take it off after 12 hours and throw it away. It's spent. The media in the patch is used up. It doesn't hurt if you leave it on longer, but if you just leave it on, your body can acclimate. You won't get 100% benefit on that next patch. So make sure you take it off. If you forget, what works for me is when I put it on, let's say I often put it on between 7 and 9 in the morning. And I just say to my phone, set an alarm to take off. And I'll say X39 and Aeon, the 2 patches I wear every day, at 7:30 p.m. Then when my alarm goes off, it doesn't only go off and I say, what was that alarm for? It says, take off your X39. So that's what I do. And that's all you have to do. And give it a try and see what happens. Now, how does it work? I know, I don't know who's going to talk about this part of it, but to me, the phenomenal part of this, and when I started researching it, I was highly skeptical. I really did it to prove to Susan it was hocus pocus or fairy dust. Come on, this is not credible science. So I went in, they said they had clinical studies. First of all, in the natural alternative realm, you don't have clinical studies generally. If you do, they're bought by the company and paid for, and they report the good ones, don't report the other ones. And that's not, I don't know how ethical that is. It's not ethical. In this case, when I started reading the studies, which I did, I found out they were independent, they were peer-reviewed, double-blind, placebo-controlled. Wow. I mean, I'm not a real egghead researcher, but I can do research. And I was phenomenally impressed by what they're showing. The clinicals are showing what this patch does. Well, first of all, what do they show? It's non-transdermal. What does that mean? It's not like an estrogen patch or a nicotine patch where you put the patch on and you get chemicals in your body. Nothing from this patch goes into your body. It doesn't start activating until you peel the back and get it within a couple inches of your skin. If it doesn't stick on your skin, which it does very well, you can put it on your clothes if it's a couple inches away, but once it's peeled off. When it's peeled off, the process starts when it gets close to your infrared. You know, we can see each other at pitch dark because we give off infrared. If you're 98.6, I mean, if you're alive, you can fog a mirror, you're giving off infrared. And what David Schmidt, the inventor of this patch, did was he invented a technology whereby this patch uses your body as a battery, really, and it activates the media in the patch. In the center of the patch is a group of crystalline structured stereoisomer organic amino acids with oxygen and sugars and salt. And you don't have to remember that, but what it does is captures your infrared and makes a very specific wavelength of light that reflects back into your body and causes changes in your body. Changes in your body is called biomodulation, since it's done with light, because your own infrared is turned into light by this patch. It's wearable light therapy, photobiomodulation, photo from light, biomodulation, changing your body. You say, wow, what is that? That's kind of strange, isn't it? No. Every time you go out in the sun, the light from the sun, in that case, the UV, converts the cholesterol in your skin to vitamin D. And vitamin D, I don't even think it's a vitamin only. It is a vitamin, but it is a hormone. It is strengthening to the bones, the immune system, phenomenal for everything from depression to seasonal affective disorder. Vitamin D is just powerful. And there's no question about even some of the recent viral things that have been going around. Vitamin D is a great thing. And that's happening in your body all the time. David Schmidt was hired by the Department of Defense in 1999, around there, to make a patch, not a stem cell activating patch, that didn't come until just a few years ago, but a patch for energy for the Navy SEALs. The Navy SEALs found themselves, thank you, I didn't have that one. You're showing what Dr. Stacy's showing right now, the energy enhancer. This patch was patch number 1, X1, and it was called the energy enhancer. And what it's designed to do is give the Navy SEALs energy if they're awake for 36 to 48 hours in submarines without caffeine or amphetamines. And it worked phenomenally well. In fact, but then 911 happened, so the funding wasn't there for that project. And long story short, David ended up starting his own company called Lifewave. That's the company we're talking about tonight. It's a biotech company in every shape, sense of the word. That's in 2004. And there was the energy patch, number 1. And then there was other patches. And patch number 15 was, my second favorite patch, but it's a close second. Aeon, Aeon, an anti-inflammatory patch. If you know anything about science or health, you know inflammation is a cause or promoter of every kind of problem, health problem. So if we can keep inflammation down, which you can measure by C-reactive protein and other parameters, you can get healthier and stay healthier longer and support the body functioning, because really it's the body doing this. The patches don't heal anything. They just simply activate the body's own system that does the healing. So that was patch number 15. Fast forward, some other patches came along, and patch invented number 39 is called, guess what? X39. This is my favorite patch. Is that your favorite patch, Dr. Stacy?
By far, yes.
By far. Why? Well, because, and it's so easy to show to people. I often say, I found something really phenomenal that's changing lives. You ever heard of stem cells? What do you know about stem cells? And then you close your mouth and open your ears. That's why God gave you 2 ears and only 1 mouth, so you can do twice as much listening. And I know I got 3 more fingers pointing back at me when I'm saying that, because I love to talk. So, what do you know about stem cells? And then listen, they'll say, have you heard of stem cells? Yeah, stem cells, they're good. Or, I don't know, well, I'm not sure what they are, but, well, you can refer people, especially if they're a researcher, a doctor, really smart people. You can refer them to PubMed.gov, where there's 5,000 hours of research on pluripotent stem cells. And you can search any kind of symptom or health issue. It's there. 5,000 hours. I have a friend, we talked to him today on the phone. He read all 5,000 hours. I didn't do that, but I read some of them, and it's available. But what I would do after that, if they're interested, and some will, some won't. If they're not, if they say that they'll act interested or aren't interested, I don't take that as a no. I take that as a not right now. So they're not just in your past, they're gonna be in your future, and you just put it on the shelf. And if you're Dr. Stacy or my wife, you've got a notepad with a name in it of your list of people. But if you're like me, you got it on your phone, because I'm trying to keep up with technology as a soon to be 67-year-old, doing better than I was. And the stem cell is the thing that rejuvenates your body. And that's why if you're a 10-year-old and you fall off your bike, you pop right back up. They don't have heart disease, they don't have cancer, they don't have chronic issues, those kinds of things. Generally, if they cut their skin, it just heals back, boom, right away, because they have such high stem cell activity. As you get older, it goes down, and it's individual basis how much it goes down. So when he developed this stem cell activating patch, never say stem cell patch. There's no stem cells in this patch, this X39. It's only activation of something called GHK copper peptide. Well researched. Dr. Lauren Picard had his whole career studying that. It's all available on this website that we'll give to you in a minute. He's been studying it since 1961, and there's a phenomenal amount of information. So what do you expect when you put this patch on? I love it, Dr. Stacy, when someone's a one patch wonder. They put the patch on and it's life-changing. It just happened to my brother. He didn't start patching until 2 weeks ago. And when we were at the Tampa event, he drove me to the Tampa event, and I put the patch on him in the parking lot. And he suffered chronic back problems. He's, had suffered with that. And the first patch, the pain went away. I love when that happens, but I don't know if that's going to happen with you. I don't know if anything's going to happen with you that first day. With me, when I understood how it works, I understood the clinical studies, which there's over 80 clinical studies. And these studies are based on wearing this patch, this X39 stem cell activating patch that activates that GHK copper signaling molecule, based on wearing it 1 month for every decade of life that you've lived. So I'm in my 7th decade right now. I'm at 67, do the math. I know it sounds weird, but so I got to give this 7 months before I can say it didn't work. And I don't know where along that pathway it's going to start working. But I know it's going to start working the minute you put it on. In fact, within 24 hours, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Stacy, on a genetic level, your genes are expressed at a healthier, more youthful level, about 3,000 to 4,000 of your 18,000 or so genes, but genes talk to other ones so quickly, it's through the genome. It works even at the genetic level. So you put this on. So I used to say it's anti-aging science of the future, but it's not. It's really reverse aging. In fact, there is a clinical study that says every 6 weeks you wear this X39 patch, de-ages your heart by 8 weeks. Wow. Is this like that movie Cocoon where everybody's getting healthy? That's what I felt like today in the phenomenal meeting that we were at with so many holistic healthcare practitioners and people with love and passion in their hearts for other and natural alternatives. I'm just bursting with all the love and phenomenal things that have happened today, and the love that I've received and been able to give. This patch has rejuvenated my life, my career calling, because I wasn't exactly excited at some things that happened. I know that some things that probably happen in your life too, but folks, get this patch, start wearing this patch. It is a life changer. So as a physician, here's what I thought of. When I think of natural alternatives, my number one concern is it safe? Well, since it's non-transdermal, no chemicals are passed, there's no interference with pharmaceuticals, over-the-counter medications, supplements, other modalities, chiropractic and massage and hydrocolon therapy, colon hydrotherapy, colon cleansing or whatever. It's not going to interfere with that. It's just waking up your own cells and turning back the hands of time to make you your very best you. So it's safe. Number two, my question is, does it work? Oh boy, am I glad you wonder that. There are clinical studies, there's a lot of them, but I'm going to say there's about 100 or more, and they're on this website that I'm going to give you in just a second. I should be giving it to you just to get it cabled in your brain. Start x39now.com. Everybody say that with me. Start x39now.com. One more time. Start x39now.com. Can you tell I'm a teacher and I'm set free from the fear of repetition? That's how I learn. I cable it in my brain, and you should too. So you go to that site. What are you going to see there? You're going to see a couple-minute presentation on how light therapy, wearable light therapy works, photobiomodulation. Then I recommend an 18 or so minute video by our founder, by David Schmidt. And he tells his story, and you'll sense the heart of this company, the heart of the man, because let's face it, it flows down from the top. And I count it an honor to have met him and to be a part of helping him achieve his vision of reaching 1 billion households. We're going to do it, Dr. Stacy, aren't we?
We are.
So, is it safe? Absolutely. Non-transdermal, won't interfere with other things, and that's rare. And when I'm using supplements, which I'm a supplement formulator, I've been with many companies doing that, including my own company that I own. And you're always thinking, well, you can't use fish oil if someone's on a anticoagulant blood thinner, and you can't take it with grapefruit juice because it can define. There's all things, but be careful. Not with a patch. Just put the patch on. The only known contraindication is if you've had a transplant, and then you just, and as Dr. Stacy said, talk to your doctor. And like I used to say when I was teaching, they say, please consult your physician before starting an exercise program. What I say now is, if you don't start an exercise program, I promise you'll be consulting your physician, because you're going to need it. So, is it safe? Yes. Is it effective? Absolutely. Clinical studies. You can go down, scroll down. After you scroll down on David Schmidt, who you're going to love, you're going to hear his heart and how he's just had this downloaded from the divine, downloaded for humankind to reach 1 billion households with help. And that's what this company, that's the heart of this company. Then you scroll down a little further, you see Dr. Stacy, you see Dr. Don, we say a little thing. And when I made that one, I wasn't even half a tenth as excited as I am today. So, and all of this technology that we have right now has come for such a time as this. It's never been easier to share with others wherever they live. You can get them on a Zoom. You can go to these patching podcasts. That's how I cut my teeth in this business. I went to 379-717-7845. You don't have to write that down. It's all on the website, startx39.com now.com. Startx39now.com. Say it with me. Startx39now.com. That's all you really have to know. You don't have to know anything about stem cells. Just know to go there, look at the studies, go as deep as you want, look at the patent, the 20-year global patent. They don't give those away for this. And talk about exclusivity. Do you know how valuable that is? In other endeavors that you, Dr. Stacy, and I have worked in, we've had to convince people why our supplement is as good or better than theirs. And, sometimes there's not that big a difference. There's none of that here. Nobody's got this one. We got exclusivity. That's powerful. So it's safe, it's effective, and most importantly, maybe it's affordable. Because did you know stem cell therapy is illegal in the United States? You can't even get it anymore. You got to go out of the country. It's going to cost you thousands, 10, 20. I have a friend who paid $30,000 in Mexico for a round of treatment of stem cells. And then where do you get the stem cells? If you're collecting your own worn out stem cells, it's only as good as that. And you get a shot and you cross your fingers, or you get them from embryos. There's some ethical issues there. There's needles, there's contamination. How about wearable light therapy for about the cost of a cup of coffee a day? Would you spend $3 a day for the next, let's say you're 60. How many of you are 60 or older on this call? Or 50 or older, or 35 and older? You lost half of your stem cell activity. Would you spend $3 a day to turn back the hands of time to stimulate your own stem cells to rejuvenate and get back to where they were? I mean, how does it work on an individual basis? I don't know. It's a lot of factors involved. It works quicker on some people, it seems like, because it's smart technology. This goes where your body needs it most. Let's say you're having an issue and we always talk about supporting organ systems. We're not going to talk about disease, as Dr. Stacy said, because that's not legal. So we don't treat disease. We don't diagnose or cure. We don't do that. That's not compliant. It's not legal, and we don't do illegal things. We're legal, moral, and ethical. We teach people how to support their cardiovascular health, maybe with the carnosine patch. That's if you've got a heart or a brain, you better get on this one because it's for heart and brain. Or to support your endocrine system. SP6, what's endocrine? Those are glands. Three in particular, the pancreas, which helps, you know what the pancreas does, a couple things, food enzymes and blood sugar balancing. And we don't treat disease with that, but boy, I want my pancreas to be supported, don't you? How about thyroid? What's that do? It controls metabolism, the rate at which you burn calories. How many could use the little boost there? How about adrenal glands? Those are the glands when you're overwhelmed, stressed out, fatigued, you got to have that extra power. How many would like to support your endocrine glands? Everybody say SP6. That's what this is designed for. And glutathione, oh my goodness, that patch, this glutathione patch is not a stem cell activating patch. The only one I talked about that was stem cell activating is X39. These are supported patches, but this one is my second favorite of the supported patches because glutathione is where the people who live in the blue zones, those are the people who live the longest, Okinawa, Japan, and other areas, they have the highest levels of glutathione because it's the number one antioxidant that fights free radical damage, which causes aging. But when you give glutathione as a supplement, which I've formulated many times with products that have that, or IV, some doctors give that for growth, abnormal growth therapy and other things. But the half-life of that taken as a supplement is 7.5 minutes. That means you take 1,000 milligrams of glutathione, and in 7.5 minutes, you only got 500 in your body. And then 7.5 minutes later, in 15 minutes, you got 250. 7.5 minutes after that, you got 125. You got 62. In a couple hours, it's gone. Now, your body makes glutathione, makes tons of it when you're younger, but as you get older, just like the stem cell, the activity goes down. This patch clinically studied to give you 300% rise in glutathione levels that last 24 hours. So as you're wearing the patch properly, which is 12 hours on, 12 hours off, you get a consistent 300% increase in glutathione levels. How many would like to become a blue zone person no matter where you live? You can live in a blue state, you can live in a red state, a brown state, a green state, a white state if you got a lot of snow, and you can be a blue zone person with glutathione. Can I get an amen, Dr. Stacy? So,
amen. I'm in.
These patches are life-changing, and I guess they're safe, they're effective, they're affordable. And I guess what I like best about it is, what does a doctor have to offer their patients, or what do you have to offer a friend or a child or a spouse or an aunt or uncle or mom and dad? Hope. That's all we have. We're hope brokers here. But I'm telling you, this is a tangible point of contact for hope. And it gives people phenomenal results on things that even we don't have even natural alternatives to do much with, and maybe not even pharmaceuticals to do much with. I could list a bunch of things, but to support your immune system, to support your heart and cardiovascular system, to support your lungs, oxygenation is key. It keeps your diseases hate oxygen and growths hate oxygen. Everybody take a deep breath. You just fought abnormal growths and infections. Wow, keep breathing. Say, I heard this doctor talk and he gave me some advice. He said, keep breathing. That beats the alternative, doesn't it? Keep breathing. Okay. Folks, what do you got to lose? $3 a day? And I'd save the best for last. I don't know. I guess it's about equal with this patch that I want to talk about finally. And then Dr. Stacy, I'm going to turn it to you. I haven't been looking at the clock. I hope not overtime, but
you're perfect.
Thank you. The Aeon patch. I have coined the term for these two as the dynamic duo because I start everyone in all cases on at least these two patches. Now, if you got other things going on, boy, you're going to want to add glutathione to, fight aging and those kinds of things. You're going to want to add carnosine if you got a brain or a heart. You're going to even want to add Lifewave, which is a pain interrupter, which is our only patch that does have immediate results when you put it on properly. you can know right away by placing it properly. And we got there's videos to show you how to do that. But that one doesn't as much address the cause of the problem. It does somewhat, but it interrupts the pain signal. But the rest of these patches, they're dealing with the core of the problem. And that's the thing about pharmaceuticals are poisons with a desirable side effect, and they can be life-saving and life-changing. And I was trained in the use of poisons with a desirable side effect. In medical school, I learned disease care, but in my own endeavors in 40 years as natural alternatives and with Lifewave, I am practicing healthcare. And so are you. You're a healthcare practitioner, whether you're formally trained or not. When you share these patches, you share life, you share rejuvenation, you give hope to people. So let me close about this Aeon patch. What is this one? You remember I said it was for inflammation. Inflammation is a cause or a promoter of any kind of disease. But we call this the bliss patch. And before the X39, which really put this company on the map, it went from before X39 that last year, before this one was came out, I think it was like $30 million company. It went to 450 million the next year. Why? Because of X39. Wow. Before that, Aeon was the number one patch. And I can tell you why for good reason, because inflammation is not bad. It just means the blood flow is increasing. That's why it looks red and it is tender. And white cells come in to clean up and fight, and T4 killer cells come in to eat abnormal growth and all. That's all part of the inflammatory process. And it's not bad unless it gets out of hand, which is chronic inflammation, or way out of hand, an autoimmune picture where your own body attacks. You got to bring that immune system back into balance. That's why it's not always about fortifying your immune system. It's about bringing balance there. And you do that by helping to quench inflammation. And there's also an anti-inflammatory diet. You know what the anti-inflammatory diet is? Fruits and vegetables, whole grains, what if you choose meat, drink what you're mostly made of, water makes your health complete. So it's one of the many modalities. And then when you exercise, you're going to get better results. When you eat right, you're going to get better results. When you deal with stress properly and get to bed on time, everything's going to work better. But this anti-inflammatory patch is known as the bliss patch because it supports parasympathetic nervous system. That's the resting restoration system, which is balanced by the sympathetic nervous system, the adrenaline, fight or flight, get up and go. You need both, but you need to rest. Some people, their adrenal system is going all the time and they're stewing in their own juices. They don't have any way to cut that off. And by the way, natural ways to do that are with laughter. Everybody say, ha, ha, ha. Being around happy people and being a happy person is fighting stress and helping you. And you do it with an Aeon patch too. Casting your cares. You're not a caretaker, you're a carecaster. Release the stuff that's trying to get on you and move on and be thankful. Gratitude is a powerful anti-inflammatory modality, but nothing like this Aeon patch. So every day I put X39 on C7. I put Aeon an inch below my belly button, although they would work anywhere on your body. Sometimes if you have pain or a specific area, like if you had a SI, today's person I was talking to had a sacroiliac problem, I'd put that Aeon right there. Now, if you only wear the X39 during the day, because it can give you energy, it did me. I didn't notice anything until about week 4. And Susan said to me, she said, what are you noticing on the patches? Because she had some phenomenal things. And I said, nothing really. She said, well, you're not getting up at night anymore. I got up 2 to 3 times a night to go to the restroom, and I'm 67 years old. It was about 5 weeks in. I've been on the patch now. This is my 11th month. So that's been, 10 months without doing that. I didn't miss it. So I didn't think of it, but it helped her because I wasn't waking her up. But I felt tremendous energy, balanced energy, not jittery caffeine kind of thing. I can say that at 66, I feel better than I did when I was 30. It's helped me balance my brain, my memory, my focus, my moods, all these things, the dynamic duo X39 and Aeon. So this bliss pass supports that resting. And if you have anxiety, I'd say you wear this during the day. If you don't have anxiety, you can wear it during the day or night. Probably simplest, what I do, I wear my X39 when I get up in the morning, I put the patch on, put my alarm in my phone, X39 in the back, Aeon there. And then every other day I'll wear a glutathione, I'll wear a carnosine, and then SP6. Don't get me started on that. We don't have time to go into detail, but I had a phenomenal appetite suppression there and lost a bunch of weight in a short period of time until Susan finally said, "Hey, don't be taking all my SP6. They're not. I need these." And so I said, "Okay, I guess I got the ideal weight pretty quick with those." So it's been life changing for us. My wife Susan had a shoulder issue, chronic. We tried all kinds of modalities. And about week 4 or 5, it was gone, not to return. She wore a splint on her ankle brace every night for 15 years for plantar fasciitis. She had shots twice. You can only do it 3 times. You can't keep doing that, the steroids. But it was hurting, and she had events and things to do. So after about 5 weeks, same amount of time, that went away. And that's been 10 months ago now, completely pain-free. We've had so many phenomenal results with this. And you can get on startx39now.com, read the studies, look at the patents, listen to David Schmidt and the heart of the company, listen to Dr. Stacy and myself and other holistic practitioners and lay people. How Susan and I learned this business, I'd recommend this. Go to the number I said once before, 379-717-7845. And it's on you don't have to write it down. It's on startx39now.com every night, Monday through Thursday at 9 o'clock. And it's a simple format, 2 testimonies. It's a half hour, very tight, and then a few minutes on the technology. And that's it. And we learn. We heard people, real people. Some are sophisticated, some are not. Some are phenomenal stories, some are not so phenomenal. Some are just inspiring, and it's wonderful. We cut our teeth because every Monday through Thursday, when we were available at 9, instead of sitting around with the electronic income reducer on the couch eating junk food, we turn on the Patching podcast, and it's been a blast. We love it. We love helping people. We've never helped so many people. I'd recommend you do that. Then on Fridays, it's at 4 o'clock, so we can accommodate the people in Europe, because we're in over 100 nations. I think it's 130. But I've probably spoken too long, but I hope you hear my passion and how much I know this technology can work for you. It's smart technology. If it doesn't work right away, it's because it's going through your body, working on priority things. It'll eventually get to the thing you took it for. I don't know how many months it's going to be, but commit to a month of patching for every decade of life, at least with the X39, the dynamic duo, and the Aeon. And then add the glutathione if you want to live longer and stronger. Add the carnosine if you have a heart or a brain or joints. Use the SP6 if you want to attain and maintain ideal weight. And I didn't even say X49, the only other stem cell patch that we have for strong bones, for bone marrow, to fight weakening of the bones and to build muscle with a 11% decrease in body fat in 60 days. Clinical studies. Go look at these studies, folks. We've crossed the T's and dotted the I's. David Schmidt has at Lifewave. We've got a powerful corporate group that's behind us and phenomenal opportunity to help a lot of people. That's my heart. I'm so honored to be here tonight with you, Dr. Stacy. I'd be glad to take any questions that you might have for me and you as well. And love every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and welcome to your healthy future with Lifewave.
Thank you, Dr. Don. That was fantastic. Oh my God. Everyone, the comments are like, oh my God, we love his energy, his enthusiasm, his excitement, your passion, obviously. We're so grateful that you took the time to give us that explanation, thorough explanation in your story and your background and who you are and what you stand for. I think that's very important. And you know what I love what you said? Every single person on here is a healthcare practitioner. Whether you have a degree in it or not, you are a healthcare practitioner because you're taking control of your health.
Yes,
that's important. So I do have a couple questions I'd like to ask. So people were asking, where do I start? Like, can I put all the patches on? Can I use 4, 5, 6 at a time? Or do I need to start slow? What do you recommend, Dr. Don?
Great question. When I met David Schmidt, it was at the Orlando convention. It was at the convention in Orlando last year, the first time. And I was just so honored to meet him out there standing at the registration desk. And Susan said, there he is. Let's go shake hands with him. And we walked over and met him. And we asked him, and he was wearing, I think, 13 patches, and there was only like 12 at that time. I said, "What? How can you have 13 patches if there's only 12?" And well, because he's working on new ones. He's always in that lab working on other things. So, can you wear that many patches? Yes. They synergize. They help one another. It's wonderful. Does it necessary to do that? No. I think to start out, the mandatory way to start out is the dynamic duo X39 and Aeon for sure. But boy, it's hard for me now to justify not giving people the option of the supportive patch of glutathione, which is probably my third most important. And basically, it's a matter of finances. You can buy wholesale for getting the silver pack, and you always buy wholesale from them and get the price. The patch is the same price that Dr. Stacy and I paid for them, and you get your X39, a couple months of that, and a couple months of Aeon for $299. But I get that glutathione because you want the longevity. Make sure you have that in your armamentarium, and carnosine because you have a heart and you have a brain, right? And they're both phenomenal for that. Those four are so important. And I guess I don't like to leave without an ice wave in case I run into somebody with pain. I don't have pain, but that's the one that works immediately. When you're patching people, I sometimes give out one X39 with the explanation that, hey, try your first patch. Maybe you're a one patch wonder, but you can see what it feels like and how you put it on C7. People get excited about it. It's good. But I don't even, I tell people, if you're not going to commit 2 to 3 months to this, maybe it's not right for you. And kind of when you do that and give a little posture like that, sometimes you think, it's not right for me. I can do this. Okay, go ahead. So how do you start? X39 Aeon mandatory. Glutathione will be the next one I add. Carnosine after that. Keep a Lifewave with you. But if you want to, cut junk food cravings and support endocrine system, thyroid, adrenals, and pancreas, XP6 is hard to go without. And we don't even mention the X49. And when you X49 for building muscle, burning fat, strengthening the bones, athletes, athletic performance. And when you combine these, I guess I'll close this question with this. When you combine X39 and X49, you get EMF protection like a shield over you from 5G and the other goofy 60 hertz fluorescent lights that are not conducive to our health. So there's a lot of benefits. We can't go into all of them here tonight, but that's how I would start. There's a long answer to a simple question. What's another question, Dr. Stacy?
So they're wanting to know, and that was a very thorough. Thank you. I totally agree with you 100%. Always X39 Aeon. That's your starting point, and you can go from there. Build from there. Try patches. I kept adding as well. So people are wanting to know, how do I know where my stem cells are going?
Yeah.
Can I determine where they're going if I have this issue or that issue? How do you know?
I had a guy once say to me, I don't believe it until I see it. And I said, have you ever seen your brain? He doesn't believe it exists unless he sees it. You ever seen your brain? Maybe, I don't know. Do you have one? I didn't see it, so I don't believe I have it. You don't know where your stem cells are going. You don't know how to take your first breath, which is the most traumatic, putting that head through the birth canal, and you got to have those surfactants released so your lungs can open up. And you don't know how that first breath works or any breath after that, or every one of your 100 trillion cells functioning in the perfection they were created to function as little factories with incoming nutrients and outgoing waste that have to be removed. You don't know how it works, but it works, doesn't it? You wake up every morning and you're thankful and you feel good, but you don't feel as good as you used to because you're not getting any younger. Neither am I. But, well, that's not exactly true. Dr. Stacy, we can measure biological aging right now because your chronological age, I'm 66, going on 67, but my biological age is a lot younger than that. Tell us about your biological age, and because you measure these kinds of things and you can have them measured. But tell us what your experience has been on biological aging for you personally.
Absolutely. So, and you're all going to ask this, so I'm just going to tell you right now. I went to a naturopathic doctor. You can go to a holistic doctor, naturopath, functional med doctor, and I asked them to do my blood work. And I don't mean like a CBC, right? I wanted to look at every system and organ in my body. And it was 7 pages of blood work report. Okay. So we looked at hormones. We looked at all the organs, right? My pancreas, insulin. They did an EKG. They looked at my heart. Of course, they did a CBC and a CMP. You know, they looked at my iron and all the different kinds of things, right? Vitamin D and all that stuff. And I went back in and I didn't tell the nurse practitioner anything, right? And I sat down with her and she said, well, I will tell you this, looking at your blood work, you're nowhere near menopause, obviously. And I said, that's great. I didn't anticipate or expect that to be the situation. She goes, you look like a healthy 30-year-old to me. And I said, well, that's interesting because I'm 47. I was 47 at that time. And I said, I'm 47 years old. She goes, there's no way you're 47. I said, I am. She said, well, your blood work tells me you're 30. Now, this was 6 months of using the patches. Now,
Wow.
Dr. Don, just like you, I use your 10 keys to health. I have been singing that song for 12, 15 years in my head, right? 12 plus 15 years. So I use those keys. I have always used those keys. And so for me, I know I was younger than my biological age when I walked in that door. That woman had never met me. That naturopathic doctor had never met me. So they were just looking at blood work, right? And that's it.
How would you like to shave 17 years off your life? I triple dog dare you, some of you who have not, or even if you've begun patching, go get a baseline of some of these. You don't need to get all these, you don't need all the parameters. She said, get a C-reactive protein, get some of those parameters that measure biological aging, and then patch for 6 months and measure it again. And let the chips fall where they may. You asked, she sliced 17 years off her life. Well, some of that was probably from your good lifestyle and so forth, but some of it was certainly associated with patching. So support your body's ability to detoxify and to balance the immune system. In fact, what's the little quiz here? What's the detoxification patch? The answer is glutathione. But guess what? This is a 1 in 100 phenomena. I had somebody today that I talked to that said they started using the patch and they felt a little bit sick and they said, I can't use this, it makes me sick. That's called a healing crisis. It's very rare, but it means your body's removing toxins, getting rid of things. You're just going a little too aggressive. Patch every other day for a week and then bring it up to a week. That we call it a healing crisis. It's very common. So that's what's happening. If you start patching and you're feeling things, it's working. I had a lady, I never told anybody this, and she's maybe watching right now. I met her in Home Depot. She was helping me get some stones for the stuff that's growing between my rocks and pea gravel. And she mentioned to me that she struggled with lupus. And, we talked about it and I told her about the patch and I had this is the first time I've ever done this. I had 3 patches with me, X39 in my wallet, because I keep one in case I forget to put it on the one I got with me. And I said, would you like to try these? And she said, well, I'd love to try it. I told her a little bit about them. And then I went back and followed up with her 3 days later. And she said, when I put that first patch on, within 15 seconds, I felt like something pushing on my spine, like a person was back there and things started changing in her body. And I said, whoop, a one patch wonder. And, these kinds of things can happen. All you need, we don't sell anything. We share life, we share health, and we share with one another. And he or she who shares with the most people gets the most reward in terms of being blessed and having gratitude and just a phenomenal, passionate life. And you also get rewarded too. So it's just fun to be part of this. I encourage you to take a look at startx39now.com. Do your study, do your due diligence, but don't wait to share with people. Just send them to startx39now.com and let them make their decision. Don't make the decision for them. Let them make their own decision. And you make your own decision. Look into it. And let's have some fun and help some people get healthier, Dr. Stacy.
Absolutely. Okay, last question. We have time for one more. A lot of people are asking about blood sugar issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you touched on that a little bit,
Yeah.
but can you touch a little bit more on that process, like specifically like with carnosine, the glycation process, SP6, you mentioned the pancreas. Can you talk a little bit more on that? Because I'm getting like at least 6 or 7 questions about blood sugar.
Good question. Oh, what a way to end. I love this. Let me give you a couple little tidbits on blood sugar. First of all, excess sugar in your body is stored as fat. Okay. And every pound of fat in your body only burns 2 calories in a 24-hour period. Every pound of muscle burns 40 to 50 calories. The average person loses 1 pound of lean muscle mass from age 20 on every year. Now, you're not average on this call. You're an exerciser and you keep youthful. But if you were average, you would. So that if you lost from age 20 to age 30, 10 pounds of lean muscle mass, which the average person does, that's 50 calories per pound you're not burning because you don't have that muscle anymore. And that is 500 calories you couldn't eat at age 30 that you got away with eating at age 20. Anybody been there with me? How about 30 to 40? Now you got 1,000 calories. 40 to 50, 1,500 calories. 50 to 60, I'm north of that. So I'm 2,000 calories I got away with eating at 20 that I
You're breathing air and that's it.
Right. So what do we do? And what is the danger of high blood sugar? When blood sugar spikes, your body sees that excess and stores it as fat. But I think even more devastating, something called glycation happens. Glycation is anytime you've got proteins in a sea of sugar, the sugars hook up to the protein and cause aging, they cause brittleness, they cause your skin to get brittle, your endothelial lining of the blood vessel, which supplies all the cells of your body and keeps you alive, to get hard, you get old, you shrink, you get shriveled up, your skin doesn't work as well. That's called glycation, aging of your skin. And it's by having blood sugar spike and go up and down. And how do we keep it balanced? Well, normally a normal functioning pancreas does that. We don't treat diabetes, type 1, type 2. Type 2 is usually associated with insulin resistance and obesity. If you get rid of the obesity, you can most all the time get rid of the type 2 diabetes. That's not treating with patches, that's treating with getting to ideal weight. Patches do not treat diabetes or blood sugar abnormalities. They support healthy blood sugar. Now, what patches would I use? I'm always going to start with X39 and Aeon, right? Because they're the basics and they increase the stem cells, keep inflammation down, because inflammation, it consumes stem cells. So you're going to get quicker results if you use them together versus just X39. You get there eventually with just X39, but you get there quicker, better results with both. So that's a foundation. But the other 2 patches are the ones that you mentioned. And I would say specifically the carnosine, because it has phenomenal benefits in that area of the anti-glycation, that anti-getting brittle and aging. But I'm going to say the star player is SP6 because it's endocrine supported. And the endocrine glands are the adrenal glands, which fight fatigue, the thyroid gland, which the rate at which you burn calories, you're burning calories more, you got less fat and blood sugar staying down. But more important, the pancreas. There's a cell in your pancreas called the islets of Langerhans. And when you support that and light that up, you light that cell up with X39, the Aeon, and SP6. And yet I don't know anything natural or pharmaceutical for type 1 diabetes. You need insulin. There's not a lot of options and there's not a lot you can do. But I'd be doing X39, Aeon, and SP6 to support healthy pancreatic function, to support normal blood sugar. We're not treating blood sugar abnormalities. We don't treat or diagnose anything. But that's what I would say about blood sugar. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it because I'm right.
You are. You're amazing. Oh my gosh, Dr. Don, thank you so much. You absolutely knocked it out of the park. I'm so grateful for you taking the time to pour into everybody on here tonight. And I know this recording is going to go completely viral. So I promise, as soon as it converts, I will get it uploaded to YouTube right away. So you all can take that and start sharing that out, because you gave us so many nuggets, not just patches, but other things as well too, like that. What was that thing in the pancreas? What was that called again?
The islets of Langerhans, the specific portion of the pancreatic cell that makes insulin.
I've never even heard of that in my life. Okay, so the islets of something.
Langerhans.
Is that German?
I don't know, but it sure works at making insulin.
All right. Well, we're balancing that. You are amazing. Thank you, Dr. Don, so much. Thank you. Thank you all for being on here.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a fantastic evening, and we will see you soon.
Thank you. God bless everyone.
God bless you all. Thank you, Dr. Don.